Welcome back to Middle of the Pack. I'm Pip.
Fax.
This week we're going to be discussing the first round of the NBA playoffs. We're going to go ahead and get it started with the Celtics Heat, where Boston ended up winning that one 4-1. I don't feel that anyone didn't see that one coming, especially with no Jimmy Butler. I don't think anyone gave the Heat really a fighting chance on that one without him.
Yeah, no, I didn't really expect anything different out of that series. Honestly, the only surprise of that whole series is that the Heat actually won one game.
Yeah, it had to take them hitting a franchise record of threes just to squeak out one single game.
Exactly. And I mean, just with the Celtics, from the beginning of the season to the middle to the end, everyone kind of expects them to win the whole thing. So their expectations are already through the roof. And if they don't even get to the finals, they're going to be looked at with that microscope lens of what the fuck is going on? Why can't we win a championship when we have the literal perfectly built team to win a championship?
Yeah, even with Kristaps Porzingis going down, I don't really feel like they lost too much with the roster that they have. Like, you have Derek White coming out of nowhere and just dropping 30. Like, they're a very, very capable team. But I'm comfortable as saying that if you're not a Celtics fan, you probably hate them. They're just a really
Yeah,
hateable team.
yep. As a not Celtics fan, I can safely say that I hate the Celtics, and it's like hating the Chiefs. You know, you just hate them because every time they're on the court, they just look so perfect, and it pisses you off because the entire time I'm thinking, why can't my team do that? And why does my team look like they don't give a fuck as much as the Celtics do? Because it's just smooth like butter every single time. Even when they struggle, their bounce back is just insane. Like, they fix those mistakes, and then boom, back to business next game.
Yeah, there's just one major difference with the Celtics and the Chiefs. The Chiefs actually know how to finish a season.
It-
The Celtics will usually eventually choke at some point, but no one really expects them to, but it'll probably happen.
Yeah, I got a feeling. I mean, depending on how that Western Conference goes and who the Celtics meet in the finals, if they get there, um, it might be a repeat of last year. So we'll see. But overall, yeah, I don't think there was any surprises here. 4-1 sounds right. I don't think, especially with how they won that last game by over 30 points, kind of makes sense. It sets the tone for how they're trying to attack the rest of the playoffs, and I think it's going to be a smoother ride than expected. Everyone panicked after that one game because I think they all got that PTSD from last year's championship. So immediately, right when they saw it, they're like, oh no, but it's the Heat. But it's the Heat. You know, the Heat can always pull it out. But there really shouldn't have ever been any panic.
No, especially again with Jimmy Butler not playing, that they weren't going to pull that one out. You take away the mentality of that team when Jimmy Butler goes down. They're dogs when he's playing.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
puppies when he's not.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to the Cavs Magic, who actually just concluded about an hour ago with the Cavs taking that one in Game 7.
Yeah, that one was a lot closer because, I mean, it's a 4-5. What did you expect? But the Cavs, hey, they came out on top. I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect them to come out of that series. I thought it was so, like, back and forth. But I thought the Magic were going to come out on top, to be honest.
Yeah, it really could have gone either way. I think what ended up biting the Magic in the ass is they're just so young.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to happen. And then when you see other teams that are young, like the Thunder, it opens the Magic up for a little more criticism, too, as to, like, you're young, so you have that excuse, but then everyone can point to the Thunder and kind of be like, but they did it.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
did. Yeah, it also didn't help when your leading points, rebounds, and assists coming from your team is a sophomore, Paolo Banchero, who absolutely has showed out and made a bigger name for himself in this playoff run that they just had. Dude's been going insane, but sadly, no one else did.
No, I mean, and it looks like, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch too much of this series. I would usually just kind of watch highlights slash read reports of the games after, and for each game, it was close. Like nobody was winning by too much, except for really Game 3 when the Magic just absolutely stomped on the Cavs. But then after that, every game remained within like 10 to 15 points, and Donovan Mitchell today, he was the hero that he was supposed to be,
Yeah.
just kind of like doing his job of being that top guy who gives you that 39 points. But I love watching Donovan Mitchell, so I'm glad that he had his game where he could just show that Game 7 isn't nothing to him and he can take care of business, and I think it's going to help them maybe compete, but we'll see what happens in the next series.
You can definitely count on Donovan Mitchell being able to go out there and get a bucket. He might have lost Game 6, but the man had 50.
Yeah.
He followed a 50-point game with a 39-point game and a closeout. You can always count on Donovan Mitchell to go get a bucket, but what is really interesting to me in this series, no one won a road game.
No shot, really.
Every game that was won was a win for the home team. It was 6-0 in the series for the home team, and it just happens to be that Cleveland was the higher seed, got to close it out in Cleveland, and it held true. Home teams went 7-0 in this series.
I mean, and that kind of makes sense too, especially with that 4 and 5 seed. It's just kind of like when you're evenly matched, what is going to propel you to that next level? And I guess based on that stat, it's the crowd. If the crowd's behind you, because I remember that one clip too, where the announcers cut out for like the first 5 minutes of the game. And it was in Cleveland, and the place was just erupting. It was so loud.
Cleveland always shows up for their team, especially now that they're actually good again.
Yeah.
I went to a Cleveland home game back, I don't know, it might have been 2016, 2015. It was electric then. So nothing's changed. When they're good, Ohio is always going to show out for their teams. They're still going to show out when they're not so good, but just it's intensified probably by 10 when they're actually a competent team.
Yeah, and there you go. Now we get to see. Now it's going to move us on to the second round, because we got the Celtics and we got the Cavaliers. So like we already talked about with the first round, we can kind of already guess on how it's going to go. But now we're going to see how the Cavs do at home with the Celtics coming into their territory. Because it's one thing to say the Magic is in their territory, and it's kind of like you're overwhelmed by the crowd. But when it's a team like the Celtics, I've got a strange feeling it isn't going to be the same result every time.
No, I don't feel so either, because the Celtics can win anywhere. And if you have to wait for 7 games to eliminate the Magic, I think moving on to the second round, give me Celtics in 5.
Yeah, that seems right. I mean,
They'll drop a game in Cleveland, whether it be the first time they have to go into Cleveland or the second. But I don't see the Celtics really struggle in this series too much.
no, I see that as realistic. I'd say probably the first home game, it might be just kind of adjustment, because that's the one thing with the Celtics that I've noticed watching them play. There's always that one game where they just kind of are not adjusted properly, but then they just kind of come back and they're firing on all cylinders. And I feel like that adjustment game definitely has to be a Cleveland home game, because I feel like you were saying, it's Cleveland always shows out, but I feel like people forget that.
Yeah.
And so it's overwhelming when you first get in there.
Yeah, and also at the same time, like you got Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell at the end of the day is like 6'2", and they don't really have a lot of bigger defenders. Jason Tatum's 6'8". You don't really have anyone that's going to really match up to JT very well, or even Jaylen Brown, to be completely honest with you. So
Yeah, and I mean, that whole team, they have dudes that can just take over at any given time, and Cleveland really kind of was relying on Donovan Mitchell to carry them past their wherever they fell short in that series. Like you said, even when he dropped 50, they lost. and then the next day he drops the 39, and that's what gets them through. So it's like you can rely on him for so long, but when you have a team of just straight up dogs like the Celtics has, it's not going to go your way. It's not going to be that rock the boat 50-50 shot. Like you said, it's probably going to be just that 5-game series. You'll get one on them, and then you're sent
Yeah,
packing.
Donovan Mitchell from the Magic series goes from being guarded by Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and still having to go to 7, but he's following that, but now having to be guarded by Drew Holiday and Derek White. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to just go in there and give those two guys 50, 40. It's just not going to happen.
No. That's going to be a very, very big change of pace. And yeah, I don't think he's going to be like, he might be prepared for it because regardless, he's the star of that team and he can still play basketball at a very high level. It's just that making that transition of getting used to defenders like the Magic has versus the Celtics defenders, whole different ball game.
Yeah, and it's not a hard thing. I would just go out there and make someone else beat you if you're Boston. You take Donovan Mitchell out as much as possible. Yeah, he could probably come out there, give you 20, whatever, maybe 30. Make someone else beat you. And I think if they rely on that strategy of just trying to force it away from Donovan Mitchell, I'm still locking in Celtics in 5.
Yeah, I'd agree. And the only thing I really want to see out of this series is I want to see my hometown hero, Sam Hauser, represent Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Just want to see him do something cool. Because, I remember when he first got into the league, and then I kind of saw his role get bigger and bigger. And now that more people are noticing that he can be that reliable 6th, 7th guy and drop some threes, I'd love to see that happen again just so I can have that representation.
Well, yeah, that'd be super cool. But as we transition from your hometown, we'll also go ahead and go into the Bucks and Pacers series. I'm sure you're very ecstatic.
Giannis hates winning. That's what happened. I don't know. Because I understand, and I've had this conversation probably about 100 times over the past, actually, throughout the entire series, I've had this conversation dozens and dozens of times about, Giannis, he needs to rest. They have to look out there for their career. It's the playoffs, Giannis. It is the playoffs. Life, limb, or eyesight. Those are the only things that should take you out of a playoffs game because playoffs, then championship. That is all you need to be looking forward to. Just take every other piece of foresight out of your brain. My career, you got to put it all on the line when it comes to playing for a championship. So for me, I was just pissed every single time. And then when Dame went out and they were both out, that pissed me off. Dame came back and he tried, but just seeing Giannis not go in there and finish with the team against the fucking Pacers, man. Against the Pacers, that's what we're doing. You can't go in like, he's not 100%. He's not going to be as fast. It doesn't matter. Walk. Giannis could walk back and forth on the court and still be extremely effective against the fucking Pacers. So, yeah, that was disappointing. They clearly showed that they need to figure quite a bunch of shit out. I mean, with Doc is in there, and I didn't care when Doc came. I don't care if he leaves. I didn't want Doc. We don't need Doc, and the Bucks kind of have a lot to reflect on over this past season because of how up and down it was, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. I thought the series was going to be a lot tighter than it actually was, but once I saw that Dame and Giannis both decided to sit out, I was like, okay, Bucks are rolling over and dying. Like, this is just going to be what it is. Pacers are going to take this one, and they're just going to move on. I expected a lot more out of this series, especially with the hectic stuff that happened in the regular season when Giannis really wanted his ball. Like, he's got bad blood with these dudes, and he just laid over and let them take the series. Like, it was no big deal.
Yeah, and at that point, I mean, rivalry over.
Yeah.
Rivalry over.
Everybody got so hyped up for that, and then it was really disappointing.
Died. It was. It was extremely disappointing. Yeah, Giannis just, like you said, rolled over, let the Pacers stomp all over him, his team, his pride, his fucking coach, his city. literally everything in Milwaukee just got destroyed. And with Indiana, like being a Colts fan, it's just kind of like, oh, all right, that's kind of cool. It's Indiana, but Indiana, the only team I root for in there is the Colts. Everywhere else, it's mainly Wisconsin, unless it's college. So not seeing Milwaukee just even try to compete was extremely disappointing. And like I said, they got to reevaluate quite a bunch of shit.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and touch base on Patrick Beverly while we're here?
That's right. Oh my gosh, I brought it up and then I almost forgot. Yeah, during the game, Patrick Beverly throwing that ball at the fan. That whole sequence of events, like I think it was like a 25-second video, was weird as fuck. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone watching that because the fan has the ball. Patrick, he like almost like signs at him, like pass it. And the fan's like, oh yeah, NBA player wants to throw a basketball. Tosses at him and then just gets a fucking rocket back at his face. Hits his girl in the head. And then Pat Bev, after he throws it, continues to talk shit. His team has to like grab him and bring him back. Like, dude, I get it. Like Pat Bev, I've seen a lot of his stuff. He has a podcast and like you see him talk and he has this demeanor. Like, and he's always been an intense player. But that shit you cannot do, man. Just like,
Yeah, especially when I was reading some stuff over it. Apparently, the only thing that was said from this fan was 3-2-1 Cancun. Like that's just an ongoing joke when the NBA playoffs come around. Like, oh, pack your bags for Cancun, buddy. Like you're gone.
Exactly. I mean, of all
and like,
the
bro,
shit
he's probably said it to other people hundreds of times.
He was probably
it's Patrick
saying
Beverly we're talking about.
Yeah, he was probably saying it like throughout the series, even when they were behind. He was like, don't worry, y'all get ready for Cancun, some shit like that. So the fact that you hear it for some fucking Pacers fan that's like 10 feet away from you and it just sets you off enough to rifle a basketball at him and his girl's head is kind of wild. And then in the post-game interviews, the whole shit with like, are you subscribed to my podcast? Oh, you're not? You can't interview me? That part, I don't care really that much about that. Like, I don't know, media, as far as media goes, they could fuck off. They could be involved with every single facet of each basketball player's life. Either way, I don't really care. So it was kind of dickish, but whatever.
It's all right. They don't need Patrick Beverly's podcast. They got ours. They'll just come listen to us instead.
Yeah, that's right. Listen to my super in-depth analysis, or as everyone probably is going to find out, listen to Pip carry me for about 40 minutes while I try to play catch-up and give very base-level analysis of basketball games.
It's all right. That's what I'm here for. But, yeah, overall, Indiana takes series 4-2.
Yep, and Milwaukee disappoints. Giannis disappoints. Figure it out, Giannis. Fucking come back. Next time, unless I see blood dripping from your head, I want you on the fucking court.
And one last thing before we close on the Milwaukee Pacers series. Patrick Beverly, enjoy Cancun.
Have a great time. Get some mimosas in you. Relax on the beach, brother.
All right, now we're going to jump into the Sixers and the Knicks. That was a fun series. That was a really fun series.
Absolutely. Oh, these games, this is probably like the one series that you and I would talk about because of how back and forth, all the drama, all the performances by the players. It's just kind of like you did not expect it for a 7-2, but we got it for a 7-2. The fucking passion from the Knicks.
Yeah, because we all know that the 76ers are only a 7th seed just because Joel Embiid missed like 4 months.
Exactly.
And to be completely honest with you, I don't think he's healthy right now.
No.
Watching this man play is painful to watch.
Yeah,
Every time he falls over, he's staying on the ground. Every time he gets back up, he's limping around. He just trudges around. It is a painful thing to watch.
Yeah, I felt like I was watching like Vince Carter in his 20th season when I was watching Embiid go up and down the court. It was just kind of like, someone just tell the old man to sit down, please. You know?
Yeah, but he had to play. Like they weren't even going to take that series to 6 games if he didn't play.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing though too, when he was playing playing a little rough.
Yeah, he wasn't playing great, but
No,
he's still Joel Embiid. So his presence alone is gonna get you a little bit more than if he didn't play at all. Not enough to make a massive difference in like upsetting the 2 seed,
yeah,
but at
yeah,
least you got him to 6, and they honestly could have lost that shit in 5. It took a miracle from Tyrese Maxey to even get that shit to 6.
yeah. He legitimately decided that night, like, I'm just gonna win this game real quick. And watching him just go off, oh man, that logo three was just poetry in motion. It was awesome to see because it was just like, all right, like there is no rollover and die for this team. Even with Joel, like Embiid was kind of kicking players, tripping players, playing a little dirty. I think it's just because he's long and lanky, dude. Like some of it, yeah, you could definitely argue that was intentional, and I would argue back. But also at the same time, it feels like every time he's around another dude, his fucking long puppeteer body just gets in the way.
Yeah, him just being a massive individual, you could definitely rewatching things. He intentionally did some of that shit. He did, but not all of it. They're gonna try to paint it out as like he's the villain. Some of it, yeah, but everybody does dirty shit at some point, whether it
Hey,
be a trip or they try to grab a certain way. Like it's a part of basketball. You're not gonna paint him out to be an overall villain, and the Knicks won the series. So at the end of the day, who cares?
exactly. Like now that
No
it's
one got
over,
hurt.
no, no one got hurt, and now that it's over, I'm sure the Knicks are gonna completely forget about it. They already took over the city. They came out in numbers wherever they were at. It was just the Knicks showed that they might finally not be the same old Knicks.
Yeah, because Jalen Brunson is a straight out dog.
Absolutely. Every game, like I would go back and I was like looking at stats just to try to see like, oh, okay, when does he kind of like fall off a little bit? But
He
I,
doesn't.
he doesn't. And that's what makes the Knicks so good is just his consistency. I really feel like just carries over to the rest of the team because he is consistently putting up 40 points and just watching him on the court, it looks like he's always in control no matter where he's at. And I love that.
He always plays like he's very calm and collected. Like he doesn't
Oh,
play with a type of panic. Like, oh,
um,
we're down 2, we need to get a bucket, and he just freaks out. No, he's always got it under control, and you can always count on that man to hit a shot when he needs to.
oh yeah. I mean, I got a feeling that kind of rolling into that next series, it's going to be a lot of Jalen Brunson highlights.
Yeah, as they move on to the next round to play the Pacers, I don't see it being too difficult for the Knicks because based
No,
on what the Pacers did on the regular season, their only defense is Miles Turner. No one else goes out there and plays defense. They're just going to try to outscore you. They got the number one scoring bench in the league. They scored over 140 points. I want to say like anywhere between 4 to 6 times this season. I think a couple times were against the Hawks, but that doesn't matter. Their goal is to just outscore you.
yeah,
They play fast.
absolutely.
They pass the ball around. They play unselfish, but they want to score.
I mean, they have to. You know, that was like they have to survive that way. It's just offense, offense, offense. And for this series, what I feel like it's going to end up turning out to be is what should have happened in the Milwaukee series. So I think it's just going to be they're going to put up a fight, but at the end of the day, the Knicks are going to take care of business. This is just the classic. The 1 seed's going to win the other series in round 2, and I think the 2 seed is going to be taking this series away too. Like the Pacers just can't keep up with the Knicks, and I think with the Knicks with their grit and the passion that they're playing with right now, it's going to overwhelm the Pacers faster than I think they'll see coming.
Yeah, the Pacers aren't ready for this at all. The Knicks are on a roll. The Knicks are gritty. The Knicks are dogs. They play defense. They'll dive on the floor. They don't care. They're going to do what they got to do to win, and that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you ask me, I could honestly I could honestly see a sweep here just because of how much more gritty the Knicks are and how well they played against the 76ers, because the Sixers can be that good all-around team, and with Embiid on the court, it was always trying to push them to the next level, but they always showed up every single time. So when it comes to the Pacers, I feel like the Knicks is just going to be just as aggressive, and it's going to look a lot different when you kind of see that Embiid was the difference maker.
I definitely am not going to disagree with it could be a sweep. It definitely could be, but just off the simple fact that the Pacers are the highest scoring team in the NBA, I think they'll at least get one. Like, if they're hot one night, you're not going to outscore them. It's just not going to happen because they got a couple different, especially with the number one scoring bench. Like, they could even put their second unit in and trust them to go out there and get a bucket.
That's true. Yeah, I think
you're not going to keep them cold for 4 games in a row. They're going to come out hot one night, and they're just not going to miss. And they're just, when a team's playing like that, there's really nothing you can do about it.
They might just start the series like that, honestly. Just kind of like give the Knicks that quote-unquote wake-up call or something.
They might do it in their first home game. I don't think you're about to walk into New York, first game of the series, and make a statement. I just don't see that happening.
That's fair. I feel like New York's going to ride that high for a while. Home games are going to be real tough for the Pacers.
They're going to continue to ride this high because they've been historically bad for a long time, and they've been building up these last couple seasons of making some short runs, but like they're real now.
Yep.
They're healthy, and they're real.
Yeah, I know, and Indiana is not going to be prepared for that. I think, like you said, I could see a sweep, but like you said, those points could go in their favor one time. Just a fucking fire night of making every single basket and looking like they can't miss. It'll get them a game. It honestly might even get them 2. But overall, Knicks are for real. I think it's their time to go to the finals, the conference finals.
Yeah, go ahead and give me Knicks in 5. Knicks in 5.
Yeah, I'll take it. Knicks in 5. You convinced me. I mean, I'm not going to argue with it either.
All right, we've covered the East. We're going to slide on over to the West, starting with the Thunder and Pelicans, where there was a sweep. There was a sweep.
And I don't really know what anyone else expected, especially when Zion was just gone. Like, it was already over right then and there.
Yeah, once they barely squeaked into the play-in and it was already announced that Zion is done, an 8th seed, you're not going to take the number 1 seed without your best player. And especially with the Pelicans barely even made it to begin with. When the Thunder, the number 1 team, no, absolutely not. The Thunder they play together. They're very unselfish. They play like a bunch of homies that have been best friends for their entire life walking into a pickup game.
Genuinely. And like the last game, even being slightly close, like that was it almost felt like a last hurrah. Like the first game, Thunder squeaked out of and then destroyed them for the next 2. And then the last game, they just kind of finished it off. And the Pelicans did not even need to be there, to be honest. It was just kind of like...
You're not going to... SGA, he's an MVP candidate, playing the best ball of his entire life. Chet played all 82 games, has yet to miss a game. They're all playing together. The 8th seed, no one was surprised. 4-0 sweep, bring the brooms out. Let's move on.
Exactly. And yeah, on to the next round. They didn't think about this. They just played their game and moved on.
Yeah, they were probably more focused on what was going down at our next series, the Clippers and the Mavericks. Where the Mavericks also took that one 4-2.
Yeah, and that one was just me going back and watching Kyrie highlights, because Kyrie it just feels like it's Cavs Kyrie again, in the way that we're seeing him consistently play and we're seeing him consistently make plays that make you go, how the fuck can a human being do that? And I love it. It could be, the Mavericks could just be all Kyrie Irving, go 0-82, and I would still watch every single game just for the fact of watching Kyrie Irving is that entertaining.
I think Kyrie is just happy to be playing basketball again.
Yeah.
Like he
Oh, yeah.
doesn't. You haven't heard of any drama, any of this pushed media bullshit. That man is just going out there and getting to hoop, and that's what he does.
Mm-hmm. And I think it really helped too, just being with Luka, because in Kyrie's previous teams, he was with a lot of established stars, and Luka is an established star for sure, but he's still newer in comparison to the guys that Kyrie was with. So it was this perfect blend of young, new superstar and old superstar just kind of getting to bounce off of each other. You know, you're seeing Kyrie and him just together is awesome because you know how competitive Luka is and how intense he is every game. And I feel like Kyrie fed off of that because it was almost like a refresher. He's not with someone who's just expecting to win a championship with the team that they built, this super team. It was just he saw Luka's intensity, and I think that's what propelled him to loving basketball again. Those young guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great thing to watch. We've seen a lot of Kyrie slander. We've seen Kyrie visibly frustrated, whether it be just sitting on the sidelines, interacting with his teammates, interviews, media, whatever. Now it's gone. Kyrie's smiling, Kyrie's hooping, and the Mavs are winning.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Clippers, I think it's exactly what I was just explaining. Just that team of a bunch of old superstars who came together because you got James Harden, you got Kawhi Leonard, you got Paul George, and you got Russ all on one team. And they can definitely play, but it's just a bunch of guys who were formerly the absolute dudes on their team now having to play together consistently. And they put up a fight, but not enough to overwhelm the Mavericks. And it just shows that the Clippers are just kind of clawing at this point. They're trying to make something, but I don't think it's ever going to get them anywhere. They could do this for 3 more years.
It's just another season of Kawhi disappearing because he's hurt all the time. Anytime it's time to show up, you can count on Kawhi to be hurt.
Absolutely. And I feel like at this point, there's that difference between Kawhi and Giannis. Is like, Giannis, this was the first one where it kind of felt like a punch to the gut, where you're just like, dude, where did you go? And with Kawhi, you were like, oh yeah, okay. I mean,
this is normal.
Yeah, you do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, just another game of Kawhi on the injury report. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a little bit of bias. We'll get to my Lakers later, sadly. But the Clippers. So I love it. I love seeing them continuously think that they're the shit, and they're not.
I mean, yeah, I can't be mad at that because I feel like the closest they ever got was the Blake and Chris Paul years, and now that's gone. So, and they keep trying to recreate it, and they're never going to.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. I'm on the same boat as that, except I do love James Harden, so that's sad to watch.
Wait, pause. Say that again.
I do love James Harden.
Come on.
He is the system. He said it. He is the system.
I can't, dude, ever since, like, I can't, just bouncing around to all these teams. I don't know. We've never talked about this. James Harden, great player, but fuck, man, that dude pisses me off.
Yeah, and I'm not going as far as being so delusional. I know I'm not getting Houston James Harden back. I know it's not going to happen, but I still love him. The same way every single offseason, I'm going to watch another fucking Ben Simmons training montage and be prepared to be hurt again because I'm going to watch this training montage and be like, this is the fucking guy. And then the season's going to start and he's going to play like 2 games. He's going to do pretty good. I'm going to be like, he's back. And then guess what? He's not going to play again. So yeah. I'm realistic because I know how it goes. I'm reliving the gooder days, the better days. Sorry, Tennessee education catches up with me sometimes. But I'm living in the past and I know that, but I know I'm not getting it back again. So I'm not completely delusional.
All right. I mean, hey, like we said, we'll definitely point out our biases. And as long as you acknowledge what was is no more, I feel like That's fair. All
Yep.
right.
And now off that, we're going to go ahead and preview that second round. I think it's going to be a great series of the Thunder and the Mavericks.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is going to be super entertaining to watch because it's both the teams that I feel like everyone wanted to win the previous series in the first round, finally playing against each other. You got the young Thunder, you got the Mavericks with Kyrie and Luka, where you love watching those two work together and the rest of that team. So I'm pretty excited for this one too. The Western Conference, like as we'll get into overall, I'm pretty excited for the second round.
Yeah, the West historically has always been more of an entertaining conference, but I'm super excited to watch this Shea and Luca matchup.
Yeah.
Two young superstars up there, faces of the league. It's going to be a great series that honestly, it's hard to make a prediction on.
Yeah, this is like two even teams, it seems like, going into it. Even with the Thunder being that 1 seed and the Mavericks being the 5, it's hard to say because both teams have really found a flow. I mean, it's going to be hard to stop the Thunder's current momentum that they have going because getting to just beat the shit out of a team that never really deserved to be there really can just get the juice flowing. So they're going to be coming to the second round swinging, but they'll definitely get caught slipping. I think it's going to be more of I could see a 7 game.
Yeah, I was just actually about to say that myself. We have to make a prediction. Even as difficult as it might be, it's kind of what we have to do. Go ahead. I'm going to go Thunder in 7.
All right. And then, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, I'm going to go Mavs in 7. But yeah, 7 games. It's 50-50 ball.
And what I'm thinking is when this game 7 rolls back to OKC, that crowd is not going to disappoint you. They're on the same wavelength as the Knicks right now. They show out for their team, especially because they have been bad for a while. And now they're not. Now they're one of the best teams in the league. And the culture that OKC has built right now is flowing over into the fans. They're barking in the stadium. They're filling the stadium full of barking. Because that's just what the team started doing in interviews, is they bark because they're a bunch of fucking dogs. And
Absolutely.
I think if this shit goes to 7 in OKC, it's just going to be a little bit overwhelming for the Mavs because it's going to be flooded with OKC fans.
Yeah, and I think really the only reason that the Mavs could pull that out in 7 is just playing that spoiler. But you're right, especially with KD's recent blessing. I feel like it's going to propel them, and it's going to be a long, long fight, but we'll see. But like I said, 50-50 ball, OKC, Mavs, we'll see what happens.
And even if it doesn't work out, Thunder fans, you're still built for the future. You own like 20 first-round picks.
Yeah. There's really no dark side right now because no matter what, you have this first-round picks. For all we know, KD could be moving on, and then he could come back home for one last little run. But it's not like you even need him.
You don't. You're a number 1 seed. You're one of the best records in the league. And you own like everybody's first round pick for like the next fucking 7 years. So future's bright in OKC. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with what I said. OKC in 7.
Mavs in 7 for Kyrie. That's it. There's no logic to that
Kyrie.
one. Yep.
All right, now we're gonna go to a series that probably shocked a lot of people. A 4-0 sweep. Timberwolves Suns.
Yeah.
The Suns are a failure. One of the biggest general manager fails of probably a long time. You built this fucking super team. KD, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. You traded away your entire future, picks, young players, all this shit to have KD look like the son of Anthony Edwards.
Oh my God. What a beautiful moment in basketball that was, though, to just see that on the screen, because everyone knows that KD, who arguably is probably one of, if not the best all-around basketball player of all time, just with how amazing he's always been. And
He's up
seeing
there as one of the
Anthony
greatest
Edwards,
pure scorers of all time.
absolutely, absolutely. You and I have had this debate together with other people around us, and it's facts. With Ant just playing like that, getting in his face, talking his shit, Anthony Edwards is the future of the NBA. You can talk about the other young players in the league with their ability to score, their ability to win games, but Anthony Edwards has the skill, and he has the attitude, and he has the passion. He's got it all.
Yeah, he's gonna come out there. He's gonna drop buckets on your head, and he's gonna talk his shit while he does it. And nothing
Ex-
that he says that he hasn't backed up. He knows he's good, and he's gonna show you that he's good.
Absolutely. I mean, I loved watching him play, and just like you said, the colossal failure of the Suns, like they had their chance. They had their chance, and they choked it away. And now it has all just been downhill since that moment. Since old CP3 couldn't get his championship, from that moment on, the Suns were dead, and they have proved as such that it is just over.
Don't worry, Michael Jordan. We're figuring you out. That we found your long lost son. You haven't claimed him yet, but we found him.
Yeah. For a while, we thought it was Jimmy, but I think we found the new number one suspect.
Everybody wants to focus right now about, Drake's got a secret daughter. Well, guess what, MJ? We're on your ass. We found your son, and it's time to admit it.
Yeah, fess up, dude. Otherwise, we're gonna send Kendrick after you too, and you don't want that shit.
You don't want that at all. Kendrick's smacking around a dead body right now.
Oh man,
And
I love
the
it.
series that I don't want to talk about it. I don't.
Why?
The
What happened?
Lakers and the Nuggets. A 4-1 Denver win. Ouch.
You need to look at the silver lining in this, buddy. They won one this time.
They did. We broke a streak of losing every game to the Nuggets.
There you go. And I mean, the talk of the town when you guys did win that game was okay. It was kind of sad. Like, I saw a lot of articles, I saw a lot of analysis, and when you guys made it 3-1, everyone was like, watch out for LA. This could be an amazing comeback. No team's ever done it.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
I said that.
Oh, man. Yes,
I
you
will
did.
always be delusional for my sunshine, my Pookie, LeBron James.
Oh, man. I know. And you need to be like, you cannot be in the middle with LeBron James. You either need to be on one side or the other. You cannot just sit there and be like, oh yeah, he's just one of the greatest. You can't just sit there. You either are all in or you're all out. And being all in like you are, that is honestly respectable. The fact that you never give up on LeBron, down 3-1, you're like, no, it's LeBron, he's got it. But then you forgot that Anthony Davis can do only so much to help out LeBron, and then the rest of the roster is just like,
Yeah, Anthony
watching.
Davis and LeBron played phenomenally. And I think the rest of the roster just kind of forgot to play basketball. But
Yeah.
You know what? Silver lining, Lakers fans. We fired Darvin Ham. Fuck you. Goodbye. Learn how to take a timeout when a team's on a 16-0 run and take your fucking hands out of your pockets. Go to China. Start learning Chinese, buddy. The Shanghai Sharks need a new coach.
Hands out of the pockets. All right, damn, Sergeant Pip.
Yeah, he doesn't take his hands out of his pockets. Stressful game situation, you can always count on him to be on that sidelines, hands in pockets.
Just chilling out, hanging out.
Chilling. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. I'm glad
Nah.
he's gone.
Yeah, it needed to happen. I mean, he just sat there and just watched the series die, and then he legitimately, just like the rest of the Lakers, to be honest, depended on Anthony Davis and LeBron to just take care of business. And 2v5 is actually harder than people think when it's all professional basketball players, turns out.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yep. So the Lakers are done. We don't really know the future if LeBron is going to go and be with his family or if he's going to come back for
He's coming back.
Cinderella run.
Coming back.
Yeah?
He's coming back. And if I have to shoot an episode or if he's a surprise retirement, I'll shoot the whole episode crying. But it's okay. We will talk about it if that day comes, and I will not be okay, but we'll be here to talk about it.
There you go. Pending breaking news. LeBron is coming back.
He's coming back.
Pip.
Per me, yeah. Pip. I'm breaking the news. I'm dropping a Pip bomb right here. Yeah. LeBron will return.
Watch your fucking neck, Woj. Pip is on your ass.
Yeah, I got your ass. It's my show now. But as we move on to that, we are going to be looking at the Timberwolves and Nuggets, which is going to be a fantastic series, as we've already seen that in Game 1, where Minnesota took that game in Denver.
Yeah.
Thanks to
was awesome.
Anthony Edwards.
Absolutely. As advertised. That is just all you can really say. As fucking advertised. Anthony Edwards came into Denver and he stood on fucking business, showing out. The whole team just kind of came together, flowing, looking real good. I loved the opening to the series because now you know that this series is going to be fucking cutthroat because
it is.
The Nuggets gotta clean some shit up if they want to compete with the Wolves. The Wolves are a whole different team.
Because I can promise you one thing the Wolves are going to do night in and night out. They're going to play some fucking defense.
Yeah. This is not a walk in the park series at all. The Nuggets have to compete. They have to be firing on every single cylinder, and they have to play perfect basketball if they want to start winning games, because right now that's what the Wolves are doing.
They are.
And, I mean, it looks like, what was it? How did he do, Edwards? How many points did he have?
Yeah, he had like 40. 39 or 40.
43.
Yeah.
Like, that is going to be tough.
He walked into Denver and smacked him in the mouth.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats too, like I'm looking at right now, Denver's leaders in the game for points, rebounds, and assists, all Jokic.
Yep.
So he needs some help.
Yeah, and I can promise you they're going to try to keep force feeding Jokic, which is, it's fair. He's a multiple-time MVP. He is the best center in the league. But he's also going against probably about to be a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. And
like this is not a joke of a center or another offensive-minded center that he's going up against where he's just going to be able to bully his way through. Gobert's not going. Yeah, Jokic is still going to do his thing. He's the best center in basketball. But he has a very competent defender that has that responsibility.
Exactly. And yeah, Gobert, I think, is up for the challenge. Regardless, you have that team full of just fucking men who are ready to go to war. And they want that. That Anthony Edwards is driving that team with his passion. All it takes sometimes is just that one dude who rallies the whole team. And then when you have the players who have the skills and all they need is that little lift of passion, that is a dangerous team. A very, very dangerous team.
Yeah. I'm all in on the Timberwolves for this offseason. I've already texted some of my close friends, submitted my paperwork. Once LeBron retires, whenever that day comes, I'm all in on Anthony Edwards. I've submitted my fan submission request. I'm moving over as soon as my sunshine leaves us. I will be taking my talents to Minnesota.
Come on, man. You're not about Bronny?
No.
I don't blame you.
Let someone else try to enter their name in the draft while they just came off averaging 4.5 points a game.
Wild, right? Wild.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating at all because you never know. But you probably shouldn't Probably shouldn't be drafted yet. You're coming
Nope.
off barely being able to play a full season because of his heart issue that he had.
Which is
You haven't,
unfortunate.
it's very unfortunate, but you haven't even got to play a full healthy season of college ball where you really could have shown yourself, improved your draft stock instead of possibly just getting drafted because your dad's LeBron James.
Yeah, that's literally it. Like any GM who's like looking at Bronny, anywhere that he goes, everyone's gonna be saying that. Like, you just got drafted because your dad's LeBron, and quite the fucking dad to have. But that can only get you so far once you're actually on the court.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone takes him just off that fact, and I hope that he blossoms to be a great NBA player. I just fully think that it would not hurt you to go one more full healthy season in college because you're not hurting for money, bro.
Absolutely not. And I
You're
mean,
one of the highest NIL earners.
what it really is that it's actually just long game. So what happened was Bronny James averaged 4 points per game because he needed to fall in the draft. Because
To the Lakers.
To the Lakers. So LeBron could take him to the playoffs. They know, lottery ball might not go their way. So if he falls, Los Angeles is there. Match made in heaven. Match made from the womb.
You're probably right, but try not to get too much off topic. You know what? Give me Timberwolves in 6.
6?
Give me T-Wolves in 6. Anthony Edwards is going to average 30 a game.
Yeah, I'll ride that with you. I'm seeing Wolves in 6 too. I think Anthony Edwards, like you said, you put in your paperwork already. I'll stick with Giannis if he wants to unfuck himself, but during this playoff series, I'm all about Anthony Edwards. I love watching him play basketball. I love watching him talk shit. So I'm going to be with you on that. Wolves in 6.
All right. Well, we've covered every game of the first round, all the series of the first round, previewed our second round. Do you want to go ahead and get us to our next small segment of useless NFL signings?
Absolutely. I would love to because, the draft concluded. That was our last episode, the entirety of our first episode, really. And now we're in that quick little lull period of who's going where. That is a free agent. And we have some useless signings that happened over this past week. The first one we'll go over because I think I'm going to go from least intensely feeling about it to how I most intensely hate. So it's just kind of like least useless to most useless. We'll go Chase Claypool signing with the Buffalo Bills. Useless.
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, he went, what was it, Bears? Well, Steelers to Bears, Bears to Dolphins, Dolphins to Bills, and has done nothing.
Yep, and they even took it in a little extra far, Buffalo did, by just go ahead and handing him Stephon Diggs' number. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like you're trying to do something. It's not going to work. Good luck. But, their new receiver, Keon, he's awesome.
He's hilarious.
He's awesome. I love him. But yeah, Chase Claypool, useless. He will do nothing to this team. He will not help Josh Allen. Don't expect anything. If you're in Buffalo, I would have been pretty pissed off at this signing.
Yeah, because it's not going to do anything for you. It might even arguably make you worse.
Honestly, he did kind of make the Bears worse, so look out. But
expect him to be buried somewhere in the depth chart eventually. Probably not even going to see the field.
Yeah, maybe you'll get a second round pick. I don't know. Hopefully it's happened before.
Yeah, wildly.
But to replace him, though, to replace the hole that Chase Claypool left in Miami, Miami went ahead and picked up Odell Beckham Jr.
They did. Very interesting. Well, it's a great receiver core as a whole.
It is. Like, it is. But it's just kind of like you didn't need him. He's not fast enough, as we discussed.
Yeah, you
There is
don't
a
fit
speed
Miami's
requirement.
profile.
No. So, like, what is he going to do? I won't lie, he did look pretty decent on Baltimore last year, but it's just, he's old. You didn't need him. You just need to build on that young team that you have right now. And I don't know. I just feel like people always hype him up to be better than he actually is because he is one of more talented, but he is just like that. Out of 100 receivers, he's like 50. He's number 50. He's like, there's a lot of young guys that can do better than him. There is probably more free agents or at least trade opportunities that you could have bolstered your team with over him. So it just seems like it's a name signing.
100%.
Like we have OBJ.
I can't wait to see OBJ wide open on a streak and just watch Tua underthrow Tyreek instead in double coverage. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, you can always count on that. That's the beautiful thing about the Dolphins is just you just kind of sit back for those first 4 games, go, wow, Tyreek is really fast on the slant routes, and then eventually he's going to be too fast, and he will get underthrown. Tua will get picked off, and then they will fall.
Tua turned the ball over.
That's the name. And then finally, we're going to get to our most useless signing. Zeke is back in Dallas.
A reunion.
A reunion that literally nobody wanted.
Yeah, because they're still having to pay him from his last contract. They're paying him more from his last contract with them than they just signed him for this contract.
And the amount of tweets that I saw leading up to the deal, so before he even signed, the amount of media coverage that I saw just made me fucking sick. Because from Schefter to Rappaport to Field Yates to basically any dude on Twitter, any NFL analyst, media personality, they were all talking about it, almost as if to convince us to care about it. But all it did is make me hate it more and more the more I heard about it. And then it finally happened, and I was still did not give a fuck. I won't give a fuck. He won't do anything. Washed, done. He was washed 4 years ago. You kept paying him money. You gave him a deal he didn't deserve, honestly. And then now you're going to see what happens when you try to build a team purely off of nostalgia. He's not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's a sad reality I especially have to face because I love Zeke coming from Ohio State. But I know that his productivity after like his first 2 seasons has been dog shit. And this signing changes nothing for the Cowboys. You lose Tony Pollard and bring back Zeke for less productivity. So what?
It's deuce bond time. Is what it really is. It's time.
The deuce is loose.
The deuce is loose, dude. I love watching that dude run. So maybe they're going to try to do a whole Tony Pollard, Zeke thing again with Deuce and Zeke. Get him to the goal line. Let Zeke's fucking big brawly ass just fall into the end zone. It could work, but I would not get my hopes up.
No. I think that about covers all of our useless signings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the last thing that we would have to cover in the NFL, only because he is an NFL legend, is Mr. Bill Romanowski owing the government $15 million.
Ouch.
Yeah, that is what happened. When you consistently fraud the government, they tend to catch up. And it was surprising in the sense of it was just like new information, but it wasn't surprising that it was him that did it. Because if anyone knows Bill Romanowski and his past in the NFL, they know he's a piece of shit anyways. So the fact that we just found out that he's just a little bit more of a piece of shit doesn't really come as a surprise.
No.
I mean, I don't see this going over. It was cool to see like, oh, look at that. It's going to get some media buzz. And then the next media buzz we'll get with him is probably his sentencing. But there goes to show that if you are a professional athlete, make sure you're taking care of your money. I mean, the only thing that you should be investing in is training and fishing poles
Joe
to go
Alt.
hit the lakes. Joe Alt, Hall of Famer Joe Alt.
Lock it in. Be
Lock
Joe
it
Alt.
in.
It's the same
Joe Alt.
message we gave last week. Be Joe Alt.
First ballot Hall of Famer. Heard it here first. Fuck you, Woj. Fuck you, Schefter. We're the new cycle. Get ready.
We're here. And that covers every topic that we wanted to discuss this week.
Wow.
Shout out our 39 listeners from our debut episode. I think that went incredibly well.
Oh, yeah. That blew past my expectations by 38.
Yeah, but
Because-
we're only up from here.
Yeah, I mean, the second time they listen, they'll be like, wow, holy shit. I don't know how this dumbass was able to lie to us about his basketball knowledge for an hour, but it was kind of entertaining. And then that other guy just kind of told them everything and told them what to say, and that was awesome. So hopefully...
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. So hopefully I can convince you guys for at least a little bit longer, since we're in the dead fucking center and the heart of the NBA season with the playoffs. But I promise I'll do more reading, get a little bit better.
Don't worry, I got you.
Yeah, have less generic takes, but if not, yeah, Pip will carry the show for the next 4 weeks.
I got you.
Anyways, thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to follow. We're on every single podcast app. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be everywhere. Everywhere you fucking turn, we're going to be there. So
Share
whether
with
you
your
want us or
mom,
not.
your dad, your grandparents, your dog. Force your dog to listen to it. Everyone you know in your life, give them the episode. Give them the link, because we're up.
Yeah, and then also, if you could do us a favor, when you tell them about the show, act fucking pissed that they don't know who it is. Like,
Yeah, make
you
them
don't-
feel bad for not knowing.
yeah, exactly. Like, anybody that you talk to that doesn't know Middle of the Pack with Pip and Fax with 39 listeners, make them feel like a dumbass.
Yeah, idiots.
You don't know what Middle of the Pack is?
Because this is your chance to hop on the bandwagon before it's super popular. You could say you were one of the first, the pioneers.
Exactly. Like, you either get on the train at the fucking beginning, or when we're selling out arenas for people to, I don't know, sit and watch us talk about sports, you'll be left out. So,
Yeah, you're not coming. You're not
No.
invited.
no. Your mom is, though, because she listened. And when you
Yes,
told
and
her,
she's
she
coming.
kept listening. Yeah, she can have a great time.
Well, again, thank you all for listening. This is Middle of the Pack. I'm Pip,
I'm Fax.
and we will see y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.